After the Constitution was written in 1787, some people worried it didn't do enough to protect individual freedoms. States like Massachusetts and Virginia refused to ratify it without a promise to add a list of rights of the people. So in 1789, James Madison introduced the Bill of Rights, and by 1791, it was officially added to the Constitution as the first 10 amendments. So what's in it? The Bill of Rights protects your basic freedoms. Basically, it's your personal shield against government overreach. So let's look at each one. The First Amendment is a biggie. It gives you freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and petition. Basically meaning you can say what you want, believe what you want, share news, gather with others, and ask the government to fix stuff as long as none of those actions infringe on someone else's First Amendment rights. This is why it's illegal to yell fire in a crowded room. The Second Amendment is the right to bear arms, which means yes, you can own a gun. It was meant to let people protect themselves and their country. The part of this amendment that somehow gets forgotten is to allow people to be part of a well-regulated militia, which has never really been a thing. Plus, I also highly doubt our founding fathers could even fathom the caliber of weapon we have at our disposal today. But people certainly cling to their interpretation of this particular amendment at the 1789 face value with the advancements of life in 2025. But I digress. Third Amendment. No soldiers crashing at your place. Back in the day, British troops would bunk in colonist homes whether they were invited or not. So this stops the military from being allowed to do that. Fourth Amendment. No random searches. Police need a good reason and a warrant to go through your stuff. The Fifth Amendment is basically courtroom protections. You don't have to testify against yourself. I plead the Fifth. And you can't be tried twice for the same crime, known as double jeopardy. Plus, the government can't take your property without paying you, which is known as eminent domain. The Sixth Amendment is the right to a fair and speedy trial. You get a lawyer, can face your accusers, have a jury decide your case. No endless waiting in jail. The Seventh Amendment allows for jury trials for civil cases, like lawsuits over money or property. The Eighth Amendment is no cruel or unusual punishment. Fines and penalties have to fit the crime, so no crazy bail or harsh treatment. The Ninth Amendment says that just because certain rights are listed in the Constitution, it doesn't mean those are the only rights you have. In other words, your freedoms aren't limited to what's written down. It's like a safety net for all the other rights that aren't specifically mentioned. For example, the Constitution doesn't explicitly say you have a right to privacy, but courts have used it to protect things like personal decisions about family and health. It's all about making sure the government can't say, well, it's not in the Constitution, so you don't have that right. So everyone who is an armchair justice right now, trying to justify that programs can be cut because they're not in the Constitution, Ninth Amendment. And the 10th Amendment states that powers not given to the federal government go to the states or to the people. It's all about keeping that balance of power. The founding fathers really wanted to make sure your freedoms were protected no matter what. And as of today, it is still the foundation of our basic rights as Americans.